So there's a formula to calculate simple interest, and it's, I will give this to you on the test. I is equal to P times R times T. What that means is that I represents the interest earned. So this is what you're calculating. You're trying to figure out how much interest, how much money would you earn if you put money into an account. So the P, it stands for your principal amount. What do you think that means? The principal amount? The amount you put in. So it's kind of like it's the amount invested. So it's the money that you're putting into the account. Like let's say I start with $1,000. That's my principal amount. That's the starting amount. And then the bank picks a rate. So I gave an example before where the rate was 5%. Always a percentage. You multiply it by the length of time. And it's always the time in years, okay? It's calculated for every year because obviously the more time, the longer you keep it in the account, the more money you're going to make. Okay, so we're going to look at a question. So you're given the question. It says, Damon deposits $500 into the savings account that pays him simple interest at a rate of 0.65% per year. How long will it take Damon to earn $130 in interest? So I underline the key points here. We have our formula that's given to you. I'm going to write these variables along the side because we have to figure out which variables do we have the information for and which one do we have to figure out. So let's go back to the question. He deposits $500 into the account. Is that the interest he earns? Is that the principal amount? Is that the rate, or is that the time? What do you think? He's depositing, he's putting the $500 into the account to start. What letter would I put that for? R. That would represent P because, like we just discussed, P is the principal amount. That's how much money you start with. We're told that at the bank, they say we're going to give you a rate of 0.65% per year. Am I going to put that in for I, R, or T? R. Now, this is where you have to take the percent. This is very important for your test. It's 0.65%, but you have to turn the percent into a decimal. Yes, it's a decimal, but that's the percent. How do you turn a percent into a decimal? What is percent always out of? So what did you do there? You divide by 100. Okay, so you have to divide by 100 to get the rate. The rate has to be a decimal. You have to take the percentage and you have to divide it by 100. What's 0.65 divided by 100? 0 decimal. What? Divide by 100. 1, 2. You're going to move the decimal 2 places. So you have 0 decimal 0065. And you can do this on your calculator. Always, always, always divide by 100 to write down the rate. Please remember that. Okay, so I have my principal amount. I have my rate. It says, how long will it take Damon to earn $130 in interest? Is the $130 for I or is it for T? I, because that's what he's earned. We know what he's earned in interest, but we have to figure out what. How long? What are we trying to calculate for? We don't know the length of time. Okay? Does everyone understand that so far? So you figure out, do I know the I, the P, the R, or the T? There's always going to be one of them that is unknown. And I'm going to do another example after where maybe it's a different variable you have to find. So all you're going to do now is replace the numbers for each letter. So our formula is I equals P times R times T. We're just going to replace the letters with the numbers. What's I? Okay, so I'm going to write 130 here. What's P? 500. What's R? 0.0065. So we put brackets because we're multiplying, right? It's P times R times T. Do I know T? So I'm going to put T. So can you isolate and solve for T? That's what you've been doing the whole chapter. Do it right now. Solve for T. We're trying to figure out what does T equal. So what's the first thing you can simplify? Can I multiply anything together to simplify it? What?
500
Yeah, you can multiply those two together. So on my left side, I still have the 130. What's 500 times 0.0065? 3.25 multiplied by T. I'm trying to figure out what the time is. The question said, how long did it take him to earn the $130 interest? How do I isolate T? What do I do to both sides? Divide by what? To cancel that out, divide this by 3.25. We're left with 130 divided by 3.25. What is the final answer? 40. And I said time is always in years. So it would take him 40 years if he invested $500 and he got an interest rate of 0.65%. It would take him 40 years to earn $130. Okay, so same type of question. Use the simple interest formula. Okay, so we're using the formula. I equals P times R times T. You're finding the amount that needs to be invested. So we're finding the amount that needs to be invested at 8% per year for 10 years in order to earn $2,000 in interest. I want you right now to write your 4 variables and fill in which information you're given and which one is the question mark. Which one do you need to find? So we know the interest earned. At the very end of it, he earned $2,000. What rate was the bank giving him? So what am I gonna do with this 8%? Divide by 100, so the rate is 0.08. That's my R. Do we know how many years it was in there for? 10 years, that's my T. So we don't know the principal amount, and if you read the question, it says, find the amount that he needs to invest. This is how much money that you start with. This is the money you're investing. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Now what? Plug it into the formula. Use this formula. You now know your I, you don't know the P, you're solving for P, you know your R, and you know your T. Plug it in, go. Right, so replace I with 2,000. What's P? Is it 2,500? So what does that mean? It means he invested $2,500. That's what he started with. So he had $2,500. He said, I'm going to go put that in the bank. The bank gave him a rate of 8%. He kept it in there for 10 years, and he earned $2,000. Not bad. He started with $2,500. At the end of 10 years, he earned $2,000. So how much money did he have after 10 years? $4,500. So he went from $2,500. 10 years later, all of a sudden that money in the bank became $4,500.